Hello everyone, Jackie and TaylorMade Fly Fish. I am very excited today to show you my latest creation. Full range of salmon and steelhead lines for switch and double-handed rods. Just on the switch rod today, but it's the same for the double-handed lines, but only a small river, so I've not brought the big rods out with me. There's two innovations in this line, which have never been done with salmon lines before. So I'm going to talk you through what I've done and why I've done it. I'll work up from the head of the fly line. First one's not an innovation, but it helps massively. Watch that tripod. You've got integrated head to the running line. So you've not got the loop-to-loop connection banging down the rod rings, which I absolutely hate. And then below that, the lowest diameter coated running line available on any salmon line in the world today. And it's also, as you can see, memory free, which also makes a big difference because you're not pulling coils out of the line before it shoots down the rod, wasting energy again. And being a lower diameter, you've got less water tension when it's picking off the surface to shoot out. But then, as well as that, this is built on a 100% zero stretch core. It's a synthetic fibre, which I've designed for TaylorMade, and that created a couple of issues for me. Because basically the first issue was designing a coating which bonded to the core perfectly. And then the second issue is basically when you coat a braided core, you trap air into the line, which is in the braid. But that's not the case with this core. So I've lost buoyancy again with the lack of air being trapped down the line. So what I've done to get around that is, well, obviously again, being thinner, there's also less material, which has less buoyancy. So what I've done to get around that is this running line is textured, which I think scientific anglers and oarists have done on trout lines, but it's never been done on salmon lines. So you've got no stretch, ultimate contact. You've got the lowest diameter running line, so it shoots, fishes easier, picks up easier, and it's textured, which adds buoyancy in a way where it's trapping air between the line and the water in the texture. So it keeps it afloat, but also your pickups are cleaner because there's less water tension with that pocket of air. Also, on each contact point on every ring, you've got less material of the coating touching the guide, so you're reducing resistance again. So there's a little bits here and there make a big difference. But with it being zero stretch, it makes picking heavy sink tips up very easy because you're not lifting, then overcompensating to make up for the stretch in the line. It's whatever you do at the rod tip happens on the tip of the line. So you can basically pick it up easier, but also with no stretch, fine-tune the tapers of the line because you've not got the energy lost in the stretch, it's all direct. So you can have a heavy setup, which is more delicate, which I think salmon fishing these days needs, because you've got to do something a little bit different than the other anglers to get different results. But if you want to get a distance, it's just easy, lift, sweep, anchor, and cast. And normally, your heavy, powerful shooting heads and sink tips are not very good at single spay casting, but because this is refined, you can do a nice delicate single spay, or if you like snap T-casts, it's just as good. Sweep it back, out it goes, presents well, shoots out well. You can even feel a tip turning over because of the direct transfer of energy, which I have never felt on any fly line before, and believe me, I've cast them all. It will even snake roll cast, which short, heavy heads normally can't do, but with this one you can. But yeah, with a slightly softer coating, you don't have the line memory, which obviously affects casting again. In this line, you've also got the stretch, only range of salmon lines in the world to have 0 stretch. They all have a minimum of 8 and 10% all around that point. So if you make a big long cast, out it goes and a fish takes a fly, it's got to take up 8 to 10% of stretch before you get enough pull on the hook hole to set the hook. But with this, it's direct. There's no energy lost between here and the tip of the line. So a fish comes up, takes a fly, turns, bang. It's like an electric shock, comes back up the line. And you've not got that stretchiness in it, which can obviously lose your fish, because as we all know, often you'll lose a fish within a couple of seconds of it taking the fly. But that's because there's that much stretch in the line, you can't get a proper hook set. But with this, it's completely instant. Presents better with the fine-tuned tapers. Shoots better. Shoots better because you've got less memory, less resistance, and less tangling. So it's all real innovation. Salmon fishing has been stuck in a rut as far as fly lines go for about the last 20 years. You get your running line, you get your head, you get your tip, and it's a little bit rough and ready in my eyes. And one of the main things for me was getting rid of the loop-to-loop connection, but on a short shooting head. But one of the issues with that is colour change at the tip of the rod. Every lift, you put a lot of stretch in the running line from your hand, where it's fixed at your hand to that point. So there, the line you can often crack. But it's not the flex in a fly line that cracks it, it's the stretch. Because basically the coating moves along the core. But obviously that's to stay keyed too, but it can only stretch so much before it splits and cracks. But with this line, you've got no stretch whatsoever. So you don't get the issue of it cracking at the back of the heavy head. So you can get away with having it all as one section. So it's got more feel, better presentation, better hook set, and just a better experience, because it doesn't feel lifting them heavy tips out. Everything's instant. I'm going to do these lines available with a integrated head and running line with the option of changing tips, and some which are running line, head, and an integrated tip all as one section. And then with the core being such a low diameter, I can get the same sink rates on the tips but of a lower diameter, because the sink rate of tips is in dead water on what it sinks. But if you're swinging a line across moving water under tension, it'll not sink anywhere near what it says on the box, because it's under tension, it's trying to bring it back up. But with my lines, I'll be able to get the tips a lower diameter, but the same sink rate, so it'll cut through the water better on the swing. But yeah, as you can see, easy getting those tips out, which is normally one of the most unpleasant things about fishing sink tips. I hated it, because being a serious trout and grayling fisherman, for me it's all about feel and presentation and enjoyment in casting, which when you swapped over to your salmon rods, you lost all that. It was a bit, you're just throwing out a dead weight. But with these, I've created something that has a bit more feel, and it shoots better. It's something I'm incredibly proud of. Genuine innovation. Modern lines for the modern fly fisherman. But yeah, something I'm very excited about, because, as I said, the fly line design was stuck in a bit of a rut. A lot of lines we have, the tapers are 15 years old in some cases. things obviously need to move on. But yeah, everything is instant, and you've not got that sluggish feel of pulling the stretch and then digging the tips out. But yeah, off it goes. And when the line pulls tight on the cast, it's bang, you can feel absolutely everything. But yeah, does all the casts, makes it easy. Doesn't get any better than that. I can't really explain how much different the fishing experience is. It's something you've got to experience yourself, basically. But you can probably hear the texture. It makes a little bit of noise. Not noisy, but you can hear it. But heavy tip, lift, sweep, anchor, and cast. It ticks every box. And if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Look after yourself, everyone, and maybe I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.